Catflap Chats, episode 42. We are back again. We have got with us Instagram's very own Mariella Life UK. Is it Mariella Catley?
It is, yeah.
I've done a bit of research earlier. I had to find out a little bit about you. I did actually. I was right back at the beginning of Instagram having a look.
Oh my goodness, I dread to know what you found back in those archives.
The classic Instagram filters, which we all had back in like 2012 or 13 or whatever.
Well, I remember I first came across Instagram, and that was the only reason you'd use it. You'd take a picture with the filter, and then you just post it raw,
Yeah.
And now you look what we're doing every day: filters, face tunes, all the rest of it. It's madness.
And the captions I like as well because they are utterly horrific. Like I've gone back and deleted a couple of things, just like, what was I thinking?
I don't think I would want to go back far enough to reread what I used to post. I think it would be too cringeworthy. I think I'd be physically ill, so I'm not even going to put myself through that.
Love that.
I think I went through that phase where you did the song lyrics as well on
oh
when
yeah.
Emo, deep emotional.
100%. I've 100% done that, and then I went through a stage of writing something and then hashtag what would girls caption, and then I don't know I can't even think of what it might be oh fuck, I don't know, but that got a little bit of traction, and then now I don't know, I'm quite boring to be honest. I'm not really as exciting as your Instagram, to be fair.
Well, I'm not sure we go with excitement, but got bits and bobs, haven't we? We've got a lot going on there. Some days more than others. But
You're very active. I've seen you got a can of Stella there. You just cracked open.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Big old
maybe we don't put that bit on the Instagram.
Hey, it's real life. It's real life. I've got like a tropical lager. Well, I've got two, to be honest. Just
an IPA? Or?
Yeah, it's it's called Tiny Rebel. It's like a pale ale, but it's this one's tropical and that one's mango. So
nice. I'd go for a tropical.
Yeah, cracking with it first. So cheers, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Cheers, thanks for having me. It's actually quite funny that you've got that, because I had a pale ale or an IPA, whatever you want to call it. I had my first one at the weekend, and they put slices of orange in. That was a new experience. I was like, I've got orange floating around in my beer. What's going on here?
It's the next step is like a little umbrella in there. Just chuck that in as well, and then you're laughing.
Yeah, I know, but then it's not a pint, is it? I feel like
no.
It's a bit weird. You can have a pint. Don't start putting fruit in it. It's a bit much, isn't it?
Would you have just a pint, or would you have like a lager and lime or something like that?
No, a straight up pint. Unless... Why are you laughing? Do you not have me down as a pint type?
Oh, no, I don't judge at all.
When I'm in France, they do a thing called a demi-fraise, which is a half. Yeah. So dummy is a half. I don't know if you've heard of it. You heard of it?
Yeah.
And the fraise obviously is strawberry, so they do these half strawberry beers, and they're just the best thing ever. Even if you've been drinking the night before you wake up, you have one of them, beautiful, sorts you right out. But they don't have it here. It's not a thing. You have lager and black, don't you? But it's just not the same.
Yeah, but lager and black, mate, that's I don't know, that's bad. Cider and black, dark fruits, that's all right.
Yeah, it's still not the same. I can't put my finger on it, but the French have absolutely nailed that. So a 10 out of 10 recommend you try that.
I'll next time I'm in Paris or something, I'll ask for one and see what happens.
Oh yeah, it'll change your life.
I'll remember that now. I'll message you after.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a Tuesday bit of wisdom there coming from you. We'll see how it pans out. So for the people who don't know, might not have come across your profile, don't know who you are.
People don't know who I am. What?
Some people might not. I know. Out of 7 billion people in the world, there might be one or two. Tell us what you're up to then, and what you're doing, and what life's looked like over the last few months in this different and weird and wonderful world.
Okay, so life has been, as I'm sure for most, a bit of a roller coaster. I work in a creative agency in Leicester, but I live in Nottingham. So for sort of the 18 months prior to lockdown, I was up at 5 a.m, gymming, driving down the M1, doing my shift, and then getting home at 7:30, 8, depending if there's been any accidents or traffic on the M1. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
And it was hard, it was long, but I really liked my job and it was something that I wanted and needed to do. So to kind of go from being switched on and so busy all the time, having no life or anything, and then all of a sudden literally just changed in a day, and I'm at home, not commuting, I've suddenly got all this time, my hours got cut, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I'm sure you've had that kind of internal battle where you feel like, should I be filling this time? What should I be filling it with? Am I meant to be bettering myself? Am I supposed to go and write a book or do a course or learn a language, start making banana bread, all that good stuff?
Did you make a banana bread?
Oh, so much banana bread.
Even I made one.
I'm not even ashamed to say it. I was becoming a banana bread professional, mate.
I try not to conform to like these trends that come through, but even I ended up making one.
Oh, it had to be done, right? I nearly, I'm not gonna lie,
well.
I did contemplate setting up my own bakery. I'd baked a lot during lockdown.
Why didn't you?
But I, obviously going from that life to then nothing. My housemate's a key worker, so she was out and about all the time. So I was around nobody, and I wasn't busy, and I'd gone from 100 miles an hour to about 10. I was like, I'm gonna go insane. I'm losing my mind. Like, I'm, 8 bread rolls down banana bread, like drinking every day, like trying to learn yoga and Japanese. So I actually went to Leeds to live with my aunt for a few months because she works from home. I needed somebody to keep me sane.
Yeah.
But it was just like a complete change of lifestyle again, because then you learn to fit in with somebody else and it's adjusting to a whole new routine.
Yeah.
And then as, you get used to this free time that I did not know existed, I came back here. So I've been in Nottingham maybe now for the last couple of months and still working from home. And I guess now it just feels normal, whatever normal is. But what I'm interested to know, and I guess you'd be good to get your opinion, is like whether you think this home working thing is going to be a permanent fixture, or whether you think like in January, February, it will just start not tumbleweeding, what's the word, like
phasing out.
Gathers momentum. Yeah, do you reckon
getting stronger? Yeah.
So like, do you reckon we'll all of a sudden we will just be back in the office 9 to 5? And because I don't know what I'm going to do. It's
interesting. So I work in a similar industry. So I work for Capital FM. So we deal a lot with creative agencies in terms of.
We have the arena here.
Yeah, so we own Smooth East Mids in your area because it's all franchised. Yeah. So we own Smooth East Mids in your area. So I work with an agency, Abstract Design, actually. Just completely off topic now. Yeah, so I work with them quite a lot with some of their clients around their creative. They do the design and social, but we're doing a lot of their digital creative strategies and stuff. And they're all working from home at the moment as well. And I think everyone in our industry, which is very different to a lot of industries, but no better or worse. I think, people rely on people, and, if your clients are starting to pull back on some of their spend and their marketing spend, the big companies that can afford to do it have probably done more, because people who advertise and market in whatever way they do it, in whatever media it is, when they do it in a recession or in a dark time, they come out the other end in a much better position. But unfortunately, lots of businesses we work with are, your SMEs and your smaller companies, and it's coming out of someone's pocket, and it's either pay the bills or do marketing. So I think we're comfortable in the fact that, we're lucky that, we will get through this and we'll survive. But in terms of the working, I've seen close friends really affected, lost one or two, and I've seen businesses go under, and you see lots of people whinging, I think, on Facebook and or whatever it might be, about trivial things now. I think for me, actually going through this, I was the opposite from you. It was me, my girlfriend, who living in a 2-bed flat. And I used to live in my own, enough space for me. Met her, she's moved in, all her stuff, space is tight. My daughter lives with her mum in 20 miles away, and I have her on weekends normally. And
How did you and your girlfriend move in for lockdown?
oh
Or
yeah,
was
yeah,
it?
like a year before, like
Oh right, okay. I was going to say.
yeah, oh yeah, it wasn't just lockdowns happening. Come in. It was like a year before, and then my daughter moved in because her mum was high risk. So her daughter moved into ours for 12 weeks, and I had kitchen table, so a 4-seater kitchen table as like a normal person, and I was trying to work full time, albeit from home. Work's obviously stressful because the stresses that come with any sort of recession and pandemic as such. And then she's trying to do schoolwork, but because she's 7 and she's at home, she wants attention and wants to play Harry Potter on the PlayStation or whatever it might be. So the minute my phone rings or a Zoom call comes on, she wants to talk to me, and I'm like, "Will you please just give me half an hour, mate?" Honestly, because she could.
But do you not think that's kind of one of the nicer things to come out of COVID, that it's humanized everybody? Because I never thought like I'd be on phone to clients or to CEOs or whoever, and they're walking around and they've got kids screaming in the background, the dog's taking a shit in the lounge,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's husbands walking around just come out of the shower or whatever, and they've burnt the banana bread from the oven. So it's quite nice to see everyone and just be human. Like we're all going through the same thing,
and it's definitely brought down the barriers of a lot of people, especially clients. From my point of view, I'm like you said, I'm seeing clients, their kids walking in, screaming, singing, TikToking, whatever they're doing, and you can't do anything but laugh at it. And they're laughing, then they're like, so sorry, and I'm like, no, honestly, my daughter has just emptied a whole thing of Rice Krispies on the floor over there, but I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to deal with it after. So in some respects, but then for us it was space. So I ended up moving house, which again has its own stresses. We renting a house, but yeah, I wouldn't change it because that 12 weeks with my daughter full time, I'll never get back. And I'm used to maybe having a 1 day a week, 2 days a week. So in that respect, and actually then moving house to be the best thing for us because it's alleviated loads of different stresses, and actually I'm performing better in work now, better relationship with my girlfriend, better relationship with my daughter. We've got space. So from all the bad, for us, we've come out of the other end fairly good, but I completely understand, I made a conscious effort to text people if they're on their own. Just try and FaceTime people and catch up with them. Now we're allowed to catch up with them and stuff, because it has affected a lot of people in different ways, and I think lockdown has been a leveler, and it's brought everyone hopefully a bit closer together.
I think it would be nice to think that and to hope that, definitely.
Well, people are assholes
I think
in
you're
general.
right. I think it can be so easy to just, I say get into a routine. I don't know if you would call it a routine, but when you don't get out of bed, you don't look at your laptop until you actually have to start at 10, and then you just lie in bed on your laptop, and then you don't see anyone, you might not talk to anyone that day, and I think it would become a really dark place. So I think the most important thing that I've tried to do is to keep getting up at whatever it is, 6, 7, keep exercising, trying to keep as much of the normal routine as I can. But I mean, just because that is what works for me, I'm not saying that works for everyone, but
no.
I think to have some sort of structure, just for your own sanity. Like I was going mad. I've started growing pumpkins,
I think training, there's a lot to be said for training and just physical activity, whether I've never seen, where I live in Cardiff, there's like a Cardiff Bay, there's like a barrage, so you can walk along the sea basically, and the loop from ours is about 10k. Did it every other day, and on that walk I've never seen so many people out walking, running, cycling, out with their kids, and again, a positive from a negative. I'd never seen that before because everyone was always PlayStation and pubs and whatever it might be, which was always
in the rat race.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got their own lives and they're just getting on with it. And actually, people were able to take stock and go, "There's more to life than this." You've still got to work.
Also, quite a lot of people say or joke about the quarantine bod, your lockdown bod, and like putting on weight. But I think for a lot of people, they've gone the other way because they've all of a sudden got all this free time to start moving their body more. If you utilize it that way, then you know you're out and about training, and pubs and restaurants aren't open or weren't open for, you know, the duration. So it's you weren't going out maybe eating and drinking as much as you were. Now you've all of a sudden you've started running. Pardon?
I wish it was that easy, because all I did for the first few weeks was eat, because what else are you going to do?
Well, we had to. It was a global pandemic. We were all very stressed and emotional. We were traumatised.
Yeah.
It was that weird period between Christmas and New Year where there's no rules.
Yeah. But everyone had done their pre-Christmas shop, so everyone's houses were stacked full of food. Full of food. Zoom calls every weekend with your mates. They soon died off.
Oh, did you do the whole house party thing and stockpile your toilet roll? Could you
try again? Oh, Siri's on one there. Sorry.
Why is Siri not about you?
I know, Siri, so selfish. We didn't stockpile toilet roll, and I didn't go on house party, but I was doing Zoom calls 2 a week at one point for like 3 or 4 weeks, to the point where I was just like, I'm up till 1 in the morning.
Do you feel like you nailed every quiz question ever put out on? Yeah.
And my missus loves The Chase, so we watched a back catalogue of like 100 episodes of The Chase, and like.
No, I can't stand it. I'm not good at quizzes, quiz shows, TV. I'm not. No, it's not for me. My general knowledge is absolutely not. No.
Talk to me about your fitness journey then, because that's what you do sort of day to day. You know, you obviously said you work with your.
I dabble in fitness.
Yeah, you know, your handstands. I've obviously seen you learning your handstands, and would you class yourself as a fitness influencer now with your following that you've got?
No, I find it so funny that people. Well, what do you say? They look to me for an influence. I don't know. I think I do what I do, and it's nice to know that I might inspire some people. And I guess, well, inspire, influence is much of a muchness. So I just when I think about myself, and to think that of all the people that I look at on Instagram, or I would go for, oh, she always looks cool, I'm going to go see what she's up to today. To think that somebody maybe looks at my Instagram and thinks, oh, you know, I like her workouts, or I like whatever she's chatting shit about today, I'm going to see what she's doing. That to me is just, I can't get my head around that at all, because it's me. And I know myself, and I know half the crap that comes out of my mouth, and now so will everyone else after listening to this. But my fitness journey started, fortunately, when I was young. As a kid, I was always encouraged to do sport by my parents.
Yeah.
And luckily I was able to do that. And I tried all sorts. I tried tennis, I swam. I always wanted to do gymnastics, and it's the one thing I could never do. There was just never classes with availability. It was never the right time.
Yeah.
But for most of my life, I was a netballer.
Okay.
So all through school, at university, I was captain of my netball team. I went to play out in Australia, and out there I was on the mixed team.
Yeah.
So they had no places on the normal team. And when they said, but we could have you on the mixed team, not at any point in my tiny little brain did I think that might mean mixed genders. I don't know what I thought it was. I just thought mixed, like mixed ability maybe.
Yeah.
So I rock up, and there's just a bunch of like men on the netball court, and I was there like, what on earth? And these guys can shift. And they were like, it just took the game to a whole new level, and I absolutely loved it. And they play like in the nets out there, so you have balls flying off the walls. It was a whole different sport, and that was a really fun time for me. I really, really enjoyed that.
How long were you out in Australia for?
12 months.
Oh, whereabouts?
So I lived in Perth, which is Western Australia. I studied out there for a year. I got to travel to like Gold Coast to play, like to compete. But other than that, I didn't travel as much as I would have liked, because I was in uni, so it was in term time. So I couldn't really do that. And I also didn't want my time to be cut short because of lack of finance or lack of time, because Australia is somewhere that I really see myself being. And so for me, it was important to explore it properly and be able to take it seriously and really suss out a place if I want to be there. But it's kind of a long story, but I'll tell you anyway. So when I was before I went to Australia, I had gone through a breakup, and I don't know if I was having some sort of existential crisis, but I was like, wow, I've got all this free time. See, I'm not good. When somebody gives me free time, it's like my mind goes into panic mode and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to fill it with? So anyway, I was on the internet one night and coming up with all sorts of ideas, as you do on Google. And I saw, this charity bike ride from Niagara Falls to New York. And I remember turning to my parents and saying, I want to do this bike ride. And I fully expected them to turn around and be like, no, absolutely not, Mariella. Don't be so ridiculous. You can barely ride a bike. And they were like, yeah, okay, off you go then. And I was like, oh my God. And then like in the course of the next few months, like I bought a bike and I was cycling every now and again, absolutely not putting in much effort at all that I should have done for training. But so that was all good. That was one aspect of it. Then I got accepted to go to university in Australia. And the problem with that was that the bike ride was then going to take place during term time.
Okay.
Whereas if I'd stayed in the UK, it would have been in the university holidays. And I could have stayed in New York and it would have been just wonderful. But God forbid my life be anything but chaos. So go out to Australia, go to uni, go out and do this bike ride. Managed to do it without dying. So that's really great. Otherwise I wouldn't be here today.
Granted.
Oh my God, are you still? Yeah, oh my God, I thought your internet had gone then. You crashed. I was like, I can't tell this story all over again. I don't have enough oxygen. So yeah, I ended up doing the bike ride in the middle, jet lagged from Australia, and it was hands down one of the like best fitness or just life experiences I've ever done. And I would absolutely recommend somebody out there, whoever it is, just to challenge yourself, because there's no way, if you'd have told me at the time that you were going to ride all that way on a bike and not die, I would have believed you. Like I couldn't walk for the next 2 months, but it was great. So yeah, that was my little tangent for you.
That's good. I like it. I like the fact people, and again, I feel more people now, especially for charity and stuff, are getting out of their comfort zone, whether that's bike rides, runs, walks, raising money, or just obviously cycling's growing anyway. You see cyclists everywhere you go now. Obviously, trying not to knock them off the roads; they're everywhere. I like that sort of ethos that someone's got, where they just take themselves out and go and challenge themselves. Yeah, I mean, even just living abroad at a young age, when you're in uni, to go and live abroad for a year is challenging on its own, let alone doing, all the other stuff you've done as well. When did when did it start? You did modelling as well. I've had a look.
I just can't. That's just another thing I can't take seriously. People are like, yeah, I did some modelling back in the day, but it was just bits and bobs. But I remember I went to do you remember the clothes show? Is that still a thing? Like,
I don't think it is, but I remember. Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, so I was there one day, like roaming around, and somebody was like, "Oh, do you want to? Like, have you ever considered modelling?" And like, obviously, as a young girl, you're like, "Oh my God, that'd be so cool."
Yeah.
Yes. Sign me up. So I did. So they signed me up to this agency, and like I did a few shoots. That was a great experience for me, because I got to meet so many new people. Obviously, travel. Like the creative that goes into some of the shoots was like really cool.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't turn around and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a model." Absolutely not. I mean, look at the state of me now. I'm in my bloody men's hoodie with a pint of Stella in my hands.
Like, mate, life's about balance. There's one thing I'll tell you, as cliche as it comes.
I think I'm just a walking contradiction.
Life is about balance. When did you start becoming a bit more popular than on Instagram, and how did that start growing in terms of, did you consciously make an effort to make a fitness Instagram, or were you just Instagramming your fitness routine and it grew?
So at the time, I actually started the account with another girl.
Yeah.
Called Emily. And we started the fitness account, and we were both posting. And we did want it to be a big thing, because being an influencer, I don't even know if the term influencer was around back then, but you see people, this cool stuff happening on Instagram, people getting paid, and I was like, oh yeah, that seems really fun, like we could do that. So we started that. I reckon she maybe did it for like a couple of months, and she was like, look, it's not really my thing, I don't have the time to do it, you crack on. And I think because I was still at uni, I had more free time with it, so I just started posting, and it just it gained some traction. I don't really know how or why. And then I dropped off a few times because I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Like, to put yourself out there online is kind of scary, and I did dip my toe in the YouTube ocean and quickly removed it because the amount of hate and nastiness that I found on there absolutely terrified me. So I went running straight back to Instagram because for me that's always been like a really safe place. That's where I started, and I'm very lucky, touch wood, that everyone that I've come across is, or well, everyone, like 9 times out of 10 people are genuinely nice human beings. So I guess I started at uni, and then obviously going to Australia, you did a bit more, and it's got a different kind of reach out there. And then I came back, and My Protein reached out to me. I think I maybe had about 10,000 followers back then. It was a lot of hard graft for me at the time. I'm not going to say I didn't work at getting followers. It was a long time, and I'd go out and follow accounts, and I was trying to be really engaged all the time.
Is that like every morning, every afternoon, every evening you're messaging other people?
For a long period of time, because I wanted the account to grow. And then it got to a point like around the My Protein time when I just sort of wanted it to, it sort of became a more natural thing, and I was like, it was exhausting trying to make it something. I was like, if people want to see what I'm putting out there and they genuinely like the content, then it will all just fall into place. And it kind of did just that, as cringe as that might sound. And from like teaming up with My Protein, it just kind of spiraled from then. And I feel like it was going well, and then there was that whole Instagram algorithm thing, and I'm sure you know about it, and the whole world was spun upside down, and influencers were losing their heads, and it was, oh my god, it's not chronological anymore, the world's ending. And it did hit me really hard, because you'd still be posting and you're still trying to put out all this content, and it just wasn't being received in the same way. And it was frustrating because you put hard work into the content that you are putting out there, and it was frustrating. But during lockdown, so only again recently, when I started learning how to do my handstands, I did a video upside down, handstands in my leotard, as you do, because it's the internet. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's what happened. And all of a sudden, my Instagram was going mad. And I was like, what's going on? And I looked at my phone, and I'd gone from having like a normal reach on a post of like between 5 and 10,000 maybe, to all of a sudden 400,000 people are looking at a video of my bumhole on the internet. And I'm thinking, what? This is madness. And ever since, honestly, handstands have just taken me places that I never thought they would take me.
It's one of those things I see with the rise of CrossFit and those strength and conditioning classes, if I can spit my words out, and obviously the gymnastics, they call it, and being able to do those sorts of movements, or handstand walks. And as that's got a lot more popular, lots more people now are, like my friend's a yoga instructor, and she can do it. And the amount of times I see people, how did you start doing it? How did you do it? Why do you do it? And it has just sort of, not a trend, because I think it'll stay around, but lots of more people want to be able to do that body weight power stuff, where whether it's pull-ups or whether it's handstand walking, whatever it might be, because you don't ever need a gym for, especially in the last couple of months, you don't need a gym for it. You just need to find a football post or have a wall or whatever it might be, and you can get a workout done still.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. I don't really know what possessed me to start. I mean, like I said, I'd always wanted to do gymnastics, and I'd seen, like you said, seen more people online doing the body weight things, and I'd seen a couple of handstands. I was like, that's really cool. I'd really like to try that. And I've always been able to, well, always, good God, Mariella, I didn't come out the womb doing it, but I've always been able to do headstands. I don't really know why or how I learned. I just know that I can.
I can do a headstand with you.
Yeah,
I'm 18 stone, but I can do a headstand.
Now this I would like to see.
Not now, but I went to a yoga class, and she was like headstands in, and I did it, and she was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, and then people would ask me how, because I've been doing that for a few years, like on Instagram, and that was no biggie. People would be like, how do you do it? And I'm honestly not trying to be ignorant when people ask me, but I don't know. It was just something that I can remember always being able to do. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a go on my hands. And, you know, when you have free time and the weather was, you know, quite nice over lockdown, I just used to go to a little field. Yeah, absolute bikini on, back garden at the field. And I just used to practice, and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced for hours. And I think because I didn't really have, I don't know if this is going to make me sound really simple, I didn't really have much else to think about at the time, because I'm not commuting, I'm not working, and I could just properly lost myself doing this. And I found something that I was like really inspired by and really motivated to do. And it was unusual for me, because normally it would be a gym program, and I would start a new program, or I'd be like, oh, I want to be able to deadlift 100 kilograms, and that was the goal. But this was a whole different ball game for me. So and then obviously it's addictive. It's like when you get a bit better at something, you want to do more, and you want to be stronger, and you want to be better. And it was like, well, once I could stand upside down, I was like, oh, I wonder if I can do this upside down. And just one thing led to another, and that's where I am now, I guess. So
did you go through it like a fitness journey as such? You know, were you one of those people that, you know, I can tell, you know, just looking at your Instagram, you're not a big person at all, you're quite petite. Did you go through a journey though of you were bigger and you've lost weight and then put muscle mass on, or have you always been like that and it was just a case of documenting what you did because you enjoyed it and other people just seemed to enjoy it as well?
So I'd always been athletic, if you like, I'd always done my sport. I sort of knew I had like an athletic build, and mum and dad had always kind of let me eat I ate healthy, but they were always like, yeah, if you want to have cake, eat cake, because they knew I worked out and my body was, you know, when you have a metabolic rate at the age of, like, when you're 14, you can get away with it. And then what happened was I went to uni and I discovered alcohol and carbs. And so I sort of, like, I had an idea about nutrition. I knew that, you know, McDonald's was bad, if you want to categorize it. It was, you know, junk food. But it didn't really go much further than that. I didn't understand macros or like food quantities, portion control. What's that? Never heard of it. So go to uni and I was drinking a lot and eating a lot because I could, and you don't really know any different, do you? And I remember going home from university in second year, and I was in the lounge, and I remember my mum and dad were like, Mariella, you've put on weight. And I was so offended, because my parents had just never been the type. And I'm like, how dare they? Like, no, I have. I was in the denial. Oh, I don't know what planet I was on, but Christ. And I was like, no, I haven't. I can't believe you've said that. That's so rude. Who do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. Like, proper threw my dollies out of the pram, went back to Nottingham. And I remember like putting some jeans on like a few days after, and I was like, oh, I honestly thought in my tiny little mind that I was just shrinking all my clothes, because God forbid, like, little athletic me, who was still playing netball, was putting on weight. I was like, well, I'm still playing netball, I'm still running around. Like, I just couldn't grasp the idea. And then all of a sudden one day, I remember, like, I saw a picture of, like, you know, when you go into old pictures on your phone, and I looked then and I looked at now, and I was like, wow. And I hadn't really put on that much weight. Like, I went to the gym and I weighed myself. Well, I'd put on like 10 kilograms. So for me, being like 5'4", going from being like, you know, 56 kilograms to all of a sudden like 66, you could tell. And so I started, that was when I started getting into the gym, because when you normally join a gym, you weigh yourself and you get like a free session, and that's where it started. And then being at uni, you got strength and conditioning sessions if you're in one of the like netball sports teams. And that's when I started taking it seriously, because I was like, no, this is not okay. I just need to rein this rock and roll lifestyle in a little bit, because it's not acceptable to eat garlic bread 5 times a week.
It is if you track it.
Depends what your goals are. So yeah, from then on I started, and then my body would obviously change, as it would for anybody when you start gymming and concentrating on what you're eating. So that was obviously documented, and it was just really interesting for me to watch how your body can change and watch how different diets and different training plans can affect that, because it was a whole new world. I'd always thought I knew everything about sport and fitness, and I knew about healthy eating, but I was so naive. I didn't have a clue. So
I think that knowledge, there's a couple of things I want to pick up on from what you've said in that. I think knowledge for people is still a barrier or an excuse for them to not be probably the best version they can be. And like, I can't say much. I'm a big lad. I'd like to think I know enough. I just don't really implement it. But, you know, if someone said, right, we'll give you 50 grand to get fit in 12 weeks, I'd be there or thereabouts without any help, just because I know enough to get by. I think there's still these myths, and I was reading stuff today. There's still these myths around carbs are bad, cardio burns fat, don't do weights because they make you bulky, fasted cardio helps you lose more calories, sit-ups if you want to lose fat off your belly. There's a million different myths, right? But people of a certain, I'd say the younger generations coming through are probably a lot more knowledgeable now, because they are following people like yourselves, and Instagram's so big and social media's so prominent, whether that's rightly or wrongly, from, you know, magazine covers of their favorite stars, and they feel they have to look like that and look that skinny rather than fit, which is a great thing. But there's definitely my age and older, people, lack of knowledge is stopping people, and they think that these myths are actually true. But if
absolutely. And the amount of people that will like starve themselves, and they're like, oh, but I had this salad, or I had this, and it's like,
juice diet. What the fucking what?
Eat better, move more. Like, I hate when people are feeling like they've got to start. There shouldn't be a restriction. But I think going off what you've said, we don't need to talk about macros and everything. We know about it, but we're not a nutrition podcast here. We're both drinking beer. But
but as long as you track that one, like, I'll have this now. Now, I am not health in the slightest.
I am not health.
I am not health. I'm not. But like, you know, towards the end of May, I lost 10 kilos because I got 125 kilos, which for me is miles too big. You know, I'm 6'1", 125 kilos, 20 stone. That's miles too big for me. You know, I'm normally around, I should be around that 17 stone mark. Is a natural.
That's where you'd be comfortable. You're happy.
Yeah. So, you know, I still need to get down to 108 or whatever. So I still need to lose another 10 kilos. But I did it. But I was still having beers. I was just tracking. If I had a beer, I'd be like, right, put it into MyFitnessPal, Tiny Rebel, 156 calories, wicked. Right, I can have 2 of those tonight, or I won't have any in the week, but I can have 8 or 10 on a Saturday, which again probably isn't big or clever, but
I think it's very clever.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just warming up, but
yeah.
At least I've got the knowledge to be able to do that. I don't think people have. I think they're still set in their ways of, you know, do this, do that, because that's what they were told and that's how they've grown up. And there's always, I feel, reactive things that whether it's the government brings in or people bring in, but there's not enough proactive to stop people getting, you know, obesity's so high in the UK, to stop people getting to that point. I don't feel like there's enough done. So the more of you there are around, hopefully that will educate more people.
Oh, I wouldn't wish more of me on anyone. I think one's quite enough. But
your industry, then let's generalize that.
I think like a few people have asked me before, you know, oh, would you compete? Do you compete? Is it absolutely not? Like, for me, I have reached a point in my fitness journey or whatever it may be. I would not want to put my body through that. I think it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And at the moment, my main goal is to, it's going to sound, I'm hearing it in my head and I know it's going to sound really cliche when I say it out loud, but if you've read any of my more recent posts, I'm trying to be more of an advocate for self-love or body confidence, body acceptance. I'm not saying everyone should feel confident in their body, but just be more at peace with it. So something that I'm trying to do now is, you know, so what, it's a Tuesday evening and I'm going to have a can of beer. Like, that's what makes me happy. I'm having a nice time on the podcast, and that's perfectly normal to do that. And I think there's this huge movement going around now, which is trying to talk about this, but there's another side of it which I hadn't really thought about until I read something recently, and everyone's talking about, you know, it's normal to have rolls and it's normal to have cellulite, and I love my stretch marks, and I love my birthmarks, and I love the extra 6 kilograms I'm carrying around on my legs, and that's great. But the fact that you're saying that you have to love them or you have to accept them makes it seem like they're not normal, or they shouldn't have been accepted in the first place. And that's another fault with this trend going around, isn't it? Because it's like, oh yeah, I've got stretch marks, like look at me, but I love them, so that's great. But well, why wouldn't you? It's part of your body, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that, and it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to acknowledge the fact you love them. They should just be there, and it's part of life, and no one should even be talking about, because who fucking cares at the end of the day?
Yeah.
It goes the other way though, where you see people now who are they would be classed as obese. So I probably am, to be honest, with my size and weight, you know, because I'm a big guy. I mean, I run 6K at the weekend. I've trained twice today, so I'm a fit big guy, but I've still got a bit of a drum. But then you
so
see,
do you think an obese person would be running 6? Because I think that's a different classification.
Yeah. But technically, I would still be classed as obese just because my BMI, my weight, or body fat, you know, 30% body fat. Maybe I haven't got a clue. But it's kind of going the other way now, where no one can ever sit in the middle anymore. You have to be either left or right. And if you have got an opinion, you'll get shot at from every angle anyway. So you might as well just do what you want to do, and as long as you're happy and not hurt anyone. But no one can sit in the middle anymore. So if you lost 6 kilos now, someone would say, "Oh, you're too skinny now. Don't like that." Well, two things with that: are you still happy and healthy? Yeah, good. Two, who cares about their fucking opinion? And what gives them the right to say you're too skinny? Because
But also, somebody would come at you and be like, "Well, why did you feel like you needed to lose the 6 kilograms?"
Yeah, like because I set myself a challenge. I wanted to get shredded up for summer, or actually, I didn't mean to lose 6 kilograms, but I just entered this training program, which I really enjoyed, and it happened because
I just entered lockdown and all I ate was banana bread, and before you knew it,
yeah, exactly, in Kansas Stella,
yeah.
but then it's gone the other way as well, where from the other side, then you see, and I can't remember who it might have been, Vogue maybe or someone, and they put a cover model up, and she was a really big girl, like curves are sexy, and you're like, I like the fact that you feel confident enough and that everyone should love their bodies no matter what they look like, how big or small you are. But when you get to a certain level, are you not physically in danger of being unhealthy, which then would increase the likelihood of coronary heart disease or heart attack or something like that? But we're glamorizing that now, saying everyone, this is a real sticky.
Be big, eat what you want.
Yeah, but love yourself still. Well, wicked.
Yes.
But when you die at 45 because your heart can't take it anymore, no one's gonna, say, "Oh, but her cover model, but that was brilliant." Well, great.
And then where do you draw the line? Like where are we going to define healthy? Is it physically? Is it weight? Is it the number on the scales? Or
exactly,
is it...
because that's dog shit to me sometimes as well. You know, it's weight on the scales. I could have not been toilet in the morning, not had a drink. It could be 11 o'clock. I weigh myself, and I'm light.
Oh yeah,
But then I've had 2 liters of water and a meal, and I've put on 1.5 kilos.
Absolutely.
So again,
and as a woman, your weight's going to fluctuate month, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I don't really like to look. I mean, the heaviest I've been, apart from being, when I was 66 kilograms at university, the heaviest I've been was when I was actually my leanest. So that's, because of the amount of muscle. Yeah. So it's contradictory. But I don't know where this trend's going now. But yeah, I agree with you. I do see it everywhere. And I also feel like you kind of have to be one extreme or the other to be able to have a voice.
Yeah, so exactly.
I don't get that much, touch wood, she grabs a beer can, I don't get that much criticism, let's say, on Instagram. But, sometimes if I post something or I'm trying to be like, oh, so what, like from this angle, I've got a few rolls, or whatever the message is that I'm trying to convey that day, some people will go, but you don't have rolls. or you're just, you know, you're leant over, or you
Yeah.
know, but you're not fat, look at you've got abs, you can do this, that and the other. Oh, so I should just sit down and not say anything. It's more, you know, we all have bad body image days, and it's not to
Yeah.
say I think that I have loads of roles, or, but it's to whoever may read that more so probably than
Yeah.
me. Like sometimes I need to hear it, don't get me wrong, but it's maybe there's somebody else out there that needs to read it more than I needed to say it, you know. And I don't think people should justify whether I can post that or not.
And I agree with that. And I suppose that leads me on to something else that you said earlier when you were talking around sort of your social media and sort of mental health. And we all know Instagram is a highlights reel. But at the same time, we all see things and think, oh, I wish I looked like that. Wish I had that. Wish I could afford that. You know, jealousy is so prevalent in people because of, not because of social media, but it's highlighted more now because of social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever. How do you find yourself personally? How do you deal with negatives or the constant pressure you might feel in having to post daily, and the pressure for it to be the highlight reel, not the real life, because someone might come for you? There's a load of different questions in there.
Yeah,
How do
so
you deal with that?
the question that stood out for me the most that you asked there was the pressure to post. So that for me is my biggest mental health trigger.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I should be posting every day. So this weekend I actually didn't post at all, like for 4 days.
Yeah.
And that makes me, I'm not going to say it sits and gives me anxiety, because I think that's a misuse of the word, but it does cause me a little bit of stress that I'm thinking I haven't posted, my views are going to be down, so when I do post it's not going to do as well. What am I going to post? And the longer I go without posting, I don't know why, but the worse that build up gets in my head. I can get into a nice little flow and I'll stock up some content and I'll post every day for a week, and my stories will be going, and I feel good about that, and I know that I feel good about it. But if I've gone, you know, 4 or 5 days without posting, I almost kind of dig myself a little hole and sit in it, because for some reason in my brain I go, well, I don't know what to post. I don't want to post anything. It's been so long. What do I even post? And I don't like any of the content, and it's sort of a vicious cycle. And then I don't want to post, and I'm not happy about it. But I know that if I post, and you know, it sparks some good conversations with people, I feel good about that, and that does
Yeah.
wonders for my mental health. Or if I've posted a good handstand video, or the motivation to go to the gym because I need to get a workout video, I'll feel good once I've done that. I feel productive, and I've come home and I've edited it, and it makes me feel good. But there is this massive pressure that if you've not posted and you see all the other people posting every day, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I'm a failure to Instagram. It's like, it's 4 days. It's
Yeah.
4 days.
Do you feel in competition with other, again, fitness influencers, whatever you would want to class yourself as?
I'm a very competitive person, so I think I would be lying if I said I don't look at other people and see them as competition, not necessarily in a bad way, but in a motivating way. Like, oh, well, she used to have the same amount of followers as me, and now she's doing this, or she's had that really cool idea for a series. What can I do?
Yeah,
More
yeah.
so than oh, well,
Not in a jealousy
what?
way, but in an
Yeah,
inspiring
I
way.
prefer to use it as a way to like drive for sure. What the other
And
question
yeah,
you asked
so
me about?
how do you? So again, you know, the average person will see, I don't know, Kim Kardashian and be like, oh, I need to be like that, or someone like yourself most might post something. One of my friends is a football broadcaster.
Okay.
She's brilliant. Works for Sky Sports, Talk Sport, everything, right? And she posted some stuff about her family, and she got loads of abuse from predominantly men because it's football and stereotypically it's a male sport, which again that's changing. But loads of abuse. Stick to football, keep to football. We don't care about. It's like the abuse she starts getting. How do you deal with that? Whether it's sexist comments around, you know, you got a bikini on or whatever it might be, or girls jealousy, whatever it might be, you know, too skinny, you can see your rolls, or whatever it might be that childish, immature people say. How do you
Mhm.
deal with that so that you are still smiley, happy, doing what you want to do, and don't let them stop you doing it?
I think I'm quite a resilient person anyway, so
Yeah.
I think naturally I kind of handle it better. Well, better than who, but maybe better than some people. But at
Yeah.
school I had a pretty tough time especially when I was doing the whole modelling thing, because I had a lot of girls at the time, would take the piss out of me because,
Yeah.
what's she doing? Well, look at her hair on this, look at this, that and the other. And
Which
I
is
was being locked in
jealousy,
school. Yeah, but
immaturity
at
and
the
jealousy.
time you don't see it like that. You
No, no,
think,
no, of
oh
course not.
God, I had a horrible time at school. I tried to drop out of sixth form. I remember sitting in the head teacher's office and being like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
The girls are really nasty to me. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't nice. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of that strengthens you up.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. And then now I get to a place where I have actively decided to put myself out there, and I worked hard to get my Instagram to a place where it will be seen by people. So it's not, I said to you at the beginning, I wasn't one of those people that just woke up and a post had gone viral and all of a sudden I'm an influencer. It wasn't like that for me. So to a certain degree, I feel like, who am I to turn around and say, oh, I can't believe I'm getting all this hate? Because I have chosen to put myself out there. I don't think it's right that people can, just give their opinions nastily, but you can't control other people. And during lockdown, My Protein reposted one of my workout videos, and within about 7 minutes of the post being up, it had more views than any of my videos. I was so over the moon. I had a celebratory gin, obviously. I was like, this is amazing. And within like 10 minutes, it had been taken down because of the amount of hate that video had received from people, like strangers on the internet, and criticizing me about technique, or what on earth do I look like? Who do I think I am? And that's one thing that I've struggled with, having a fitness account when I'm not a personal trainer.
Yeah.
That's quite difficult, because who am I? I have no qualifications. I can only put out what has worked for me, or tips that I've had from maybe other trainers, but a lot of the influencers out there do have qualifications.
On that, or just on that quickly, and this is nothing against any PT, because I know some really, really good PTs. I could go and get an accreditation within 8 weeks. Doesn't make me a good PT. And I think, I don't know if it was James Smith maybe, or someone like that, was like, I learned to pass a test, then I learned to become a PT. I learned on the floor by doing it. And again, these people, they might have a PT qualification. How good are they, really? Like, anyone can go and get that course as long as they got a bit about them in terms of willing to learn knowledge, pass the exams. But it's passing a test, same as learning to drive. You learn to pass.
I was just going to say, as soon as you learn to drive, you're not a phenomenal driver, are you?
No, you learn to pass the test, and then you learn to drive. And I think, again, people forget that, everyone's an expert nowadays because of, the internet, or just ego.
It's a bit like the first time you have sex, isn't it? You don't come out and you don't just have sex and you're an expert. Good God.
I wouldn't know.
Still learn.
Well, yeah, something like that. Yeah. We'll get there one day, eh?
Yeah, here's hoping. I'm still hoping, obviously, because I'm, pure.
Yes, I'm
Pure
not.
Little angel.
It's
like you can see the halo. No, you're definitely not, because you've got a child, but...
Yeah, well, if you believe in the Bible, then that could happen too. But that's a whole other conversation. Probably offends people, so...
Yeah, sorry. Maybe we won't discuss religion right now.
What do you think about, bringing it back, what do you think about influencers? And by influencers now, I mean proper heavy following celebrities. So I'm just going to pick Gemma Collins, for example, promoting things like skinny bod tea, or I don't know what the companies are called. And she might not be the right person who does it, but she was the first person I thought of, who's come from a TV background, not necessarily an acting background, but a reality background, promoting things like that, when actually all the science just suggests, like you said, eat less, move more, and you will lose weight. What's your thoughts on that, and does it infuriate you?
Oh, absolutely infuriates me, but most things do on a daily basis. But I think regardless of what background you're from, even if she'd have been from God forbid she has like a nutrition background, but I think when you have that much of a platform and you're going to put something out there which is quite literally damaging to people's health, I think it's a complete misuse of your power and your influence. I think it's absolutely horrendous. But it's, people will come to me and they'll be like, oh well, I've been on, you know, this diet and that, you know, it says you should do 1,200 calories a day. That is so damaging, like, especially as a woman with your hormones. It's just absolutely ludicrous. And you see, like you've said, like people like Gemma Collins drinking these teas, or they're starving themselves. I don't even know if I understand that the concept is eat less, move more, but I prefer to like eat better, because food is fuel. So, it just winds me up. There was one recently and it was all over, wasn't it some government health advisor had said we were supposed to have 1,200 calories or something. That's absurd.
The other week, I think the message just came out of the government. Well, mate, easily. So I think the thing coming out of government the other week was eat out to help out, but then also obesity is climbing, so we've got to be more active as well. And you're like, well, which one? Like, why don't eat out to help out, but educate people on what they're eating. And then you see the arguments of people going, certain restaurants, so I don't know, the Wagamamas do it? I can't remember now, where they got the calories next to the meals. And then people are kicking off, I don't want to see the calories of what I'm eating. Well, that's fine, but you're 25 stone, pal. So maybe you'd live just another 10 years if you did. Maybe you don't want to, and you're happy, and that's fine. And who am I to say, who are you to say? We're nobody. It's up to you. Like, but again, I feel like more could be done to stop these promotions. And that's all to do. It's just pure money. People taking money for things they don't believe in. But then that's harmful. As harmful.
More switched on to, because there was this huge rise in influencers and brand deals and ads, affiliates, gifted, that you have to be really transparent about it. Do you not think or hope that people have become more switched on to this?
If we class people as got a bit about them and they are probably of a certain age and over, what about your 13-year-old on Instagram? Or your 15-year-old on Instagram who's maybe a bit of a bigger girl and getting bullied, or maybe a skinnier girl. I say girl, could be a boy, exactly the same fucking thing. You know, who could be skinnier.
And if God forbid you only say girls, because then someone's going to listen to this, and there's so many sensitive people out there. Like, you can't say anything now, and I just think people need to get a bit real and a bit like, you can't say anything without offending anyone. And I think it's all, I think there are, you know, a lot of issues out there that need to be addressed, but I think people just need to get a bit of a grip and some perspective.
I quite like sitting in the middle ground, and I'm always open to being educated on something. So I might take an opinion on it, whether it's, I try not to get into conversations about religion or Brexit or politics in general, but I will take an opinion on it based on what I've seen, what my gut instinct is. But I'm then happy, you know, I might say, well, I think Boris is this and that. Well, Jeremy Corbyn is this and that. Oh, okay, I'll listen to you and then I'll form my opinion. But once I've listened to you, I'll probably fact check it a little bit, just because there's so much fake news about. But I quite like sitting in the middle. Majority of people will sit at either side, and I think it's harmful to society. And it's people are either just keeping quiet and not saying anything, and then they're just suffering on their own.
Because they're on the fence.
Or they'll say something and then just get absolutely hounded for fucking days about it, which, again, that's not helpful, is it?
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's like, if you have an opinion nowadays, you it's going to be wrong. Nobody's going to, you can't please everyone, like I said. But yeah, I agree. I think I'd be in the middle ground, depending on what it was. I don't know every in and out about Brexit. I don't know every in and out about COVID, but like, I know that some of the shite that comes out, like you've just said, eat out but don't eat out, leave the house but don't leave the house, wear your mask but don't wear your mask. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Absolute shambles. I've got some questions. So one of my friends, Amy Morrison, messaged me about you to get you on, and then I messaged her today saying it's happening, and she said, I've got some questions for her. She said, not a problem.
No, she did not.
Yeah, oh, mate, she loves you. She absolutely loves you.
I'm blushing now.
I'll turn this bit into a video so that she gets a shout out and you can say hello to her. She'll be buzzing with that. So
it's just so weird.
she loves you, but I suppose you have fans, and like you probably, I don't know if you when you go to maybe you go Body Power or whatever you might do, you might meet some, but people feel they know you because they see your posts every day or every fourth day or your stories or whatever it might be. So actually, you do influence people. It's the way it
it
is.
doesn't sink in at all. Like some days I do get messages from people and they'll say, you've really helped me out today, or I love like this, that, and the no bullshit approach, or I really enjoyed this and I really like your post. But I just I can't fathom.
Before you start crying, I'll ask you these questions now. I just close the window next door, go wild. What, if any, books are you reading at the moment?
Oh, so many books. Okay.
Oh, I like
Big
this.
fan. I've got one here, look. I've got one here. Here's one I've read earlier.
Without fail.
Lee
Jack
Charles.
Reacher. There we are. I like
Yes.
Jack Reacher.
Yeah, great author. And then I can't remember the name of it. This is one, The Secret. That's pretty generic, right? Everyone should read that. But the other one, Normal People. I preferred the series controversially, but where is it? I
love that we're on a tour of your bedroom at the moment.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And also I don't have a wardrobe, so it's all on the floor. So I was gifted this book by a colleague who said you should read it, and it's something completely different to anything that I have ever read.
Yeah.
Because I'm not normally a big like self-help booker. Like when I'm going to read, I like to read Jack Reacher and like mysteries and things like that. But it's called The Universe Has Your Back, and it's by Gabrielle Bernstein. I hope I've said that right. And I'm a big cynic, so when I read it, it's teaching me to be a lot more open-minded, and there's things in there that I do want to try. So I'd recommend somebody else if they want to read that kind of thing. It's definitely interesting to see other people's approach to, mindfulness and manifesting and that kind of thing, because I'm kind of a cynic.
No, that's good. I like that. If you for your book, I can't even think of the fucking word now. For your next read, for your collection, that's the word. There we are. Author called Mark Billingham. Do you like Luther?
Oh yes.
Right, here we go.
Sorry, I got way too excited about that, didn't I?
It's immense, mate. Right, so author called Mark Billingham, and it's the DI Detective Thorn series. Thorn with an E on the end.
Detective Thorn, yeah.
There's about 20 books, and you literally start almost at the beginning of his career and go through his whole detective career.
Oh, really?
Really good.
Okay, I tell you what, I'll take you up on that. That will be my next book, and I'll let you know what I think.
What's the first? The first one is called Scaredy Cat or Sleepyhead, and the first two books were made into Sky series with what's the bloody actor called now? Oh, this is going to really annoy me.
Oh, pressure.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to remember his name.
Time is ticking. We're all waiting on the podcast.
Oh no, it's all right. Don't worry, it's fine. But it was brilliant, and if you Google it, you'll be able to see it.
Should I read the book first, or should I watch it first?
No, read the books because they're miles better. But the series is good. Very, very much like Luther. It's dark. It gets nasty at times. A lot of detail. And then I'm sure but J.K. Rowling released a set of books, the Strike series, but it's under a different name, Robert Galbraith.
I do not know.
His name's Cormoran Strike. I haven't pronounced that right, but he's like a private investigator. But they're old. They're an old TV series as well, like 10 years old now. And the newest book has just been turned into TV now. But read the books first. So there's two little series. There's literally, I've got about 20 or 25 books up there in those two series. So
when I haven't posted on Instagram for the next 2 weeks, it's because I'm like eyeballs deep in detective books now, and it all be fault.
I much prefer an actual book as well to a Kindle or something like that. So.
I don't have a Kindle, and I don't read them on my iPad. There's just something so satisfying.
Yeah.
I'm such an old soul. I love nostalgic.
To read a book. Yeah, I was brought up like that. So I would recommend those. And when you run out of that, I can give you more. Type of
Yeah.
guy I am, see. Who are your role models?
Oh, okay. Can this be, is this like famous people or non-famous people, or both?
Whoever you want to talk about.
Okay, so I guess here she is. Can I switch the camera around? Or no, can I not do that on here? I can, there you go. One's on my wall. So that's
Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, always loved her since I was a little girl. Not even necessarily because I've seen the films, because I haven't seen all her films, but just reading about her. She's a very strong character, like the background she came from and what she did with her life. So that's one dead role model. Obviously, mum and dad, well, my family have different influences on me, so we won't go into that. They all have their own whatever, but obviously my parents have taught me a lot of lessons and things that I will cherish and live by. I think my biggest role model or influence at the moment is someone called Morgan Rose Maroney, and she's the one reason I started doing handstands. I watched her video, and she is the most amazing hand balancer, and she's Gymshark athlete. She's with Steve Cook, but she is, well, I'm talking like I know her. I've never met her. I've spoken to her a few times, but she's, we go way back. She's calling me after this. But from what I see of her, she is so raw, and she lives her life for her. And, you know, she eats what she wants to eat. She drinks what she wants to drink. And she seems to have a really, like, healthy life balance, which is something that I'm trying to nail right now.
Yeah.
So she's one of them. I guess the people that you surround yourself with, I think my friends all have influences on me to a certain degree. So I think I've got quite a lot of role models.
Oh, you should. I like, if everyone's the same, it'd be boring. You need different backgrounds and different characters around you to be able to shape you in different ways, because they all bring something different to the party. Otherwise, you just have clones, and then how fucking boring would that be?
Well, what about you then? Who would you say your role model is?
Oh, mate, this isn't about me, pal. My influences, not necessarily all positive or, you know, negative through, you know, experiences as well. My parents, big influences through various different things. I've always liked my sport, so, you know, I was a big Man United supporter growing up. I'm big into my music. I like my music, so Oasis was a big thing for me growing up. And then I like, what else? I don't know.
It's hard, isn't it, when you put on this spot? Like, I feel I'm going to hang up and I'm going to have all these different role models come to my head. I'll be like, damn, why didn't I say that?
I find that I was going to say, I find I don't hang myself like on one particular person or one particular genre of something. I've been one of those people, again, where I'm quite inquisitive in nature, I suppose. So I don't like one genre of music. I will, on any particular time, listen to something. You know, I can go from Capital FM to Heart to Smooth to Talksport to Kistery to a podcast. Like, I just love variety, I suppose. So
yeah, I agree.
It's never been a case of this person or that person, but more maybe more this moment and that moment. And I suppose that's probably been more influential, whether it's sporting moments, you know, an album release, things in my life.
I'm like influenced by strong-willed people. So my dad always said, like, it's important to form your own opinion, especially, you know, like, kind of like you've said, you'll be given the facts by the government, and it's like, okay, well, what does this actually mean? Because you're saying this, but when we put it into context, and you've kind of got to go away and do your own research. And you did give me a quote, but I can't remember what that was. But I think there's things like, you know, controversial people like Jeremy Clarkson, let's say, you love him or hate him. He's, you know, opinionated. Piers Morgan, you know, Gordon Ramsay to a certain extent. Like, not everyone's going to love the fact that he goes out and swears all the damn time, but you know, I like these people because they've stuck to what they've stuck to their values, whether they're right or wrong, and you don't like them. They're like honest in their approach, and I kind of like that.
Piers is an interesting one because I do like some of what he tweets, but then at other times I'm just like, mate, just have a day off. But again,
Yeah,
I
sometimes
sit
he's like,
I sit in the middle with it. I sit in the middle because I like half of what he does, and I think the other half he's a bit of a buffoon at times. But then again, people will just either be up his arse or they want to kill him. Just chill
but
out
then
with it.
kind of the most interesting people you'll meet are the people with opinions that you love or you hate, because you get them, you're talking about them. You're not going to go to a dinner party and be like, oh, do you remember that boring person in the corner that drank water and ate vanilla ice cream and talked about how she loves everyone and everyone's wonderful and she makes all types of banana bread? No. You go and talk to that one that was kicking off because she fucking hates banana bread.
Yeah.
And she only drinks whiskey and she only wants to listen to country music and, you know, she hates everyone.
I'm definitely attracted to mavericks. Not broken people, that might be the wrong term, but people who've got that little bit of flawed genius about them, maybe.
Nice. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, like brilliant at what they do, but could go off the rails at any particular time.
Yeah.
And that I've always been attracted to when I think of, like, you know, sports people now, artists, you know, film, whatever it might be. They're the types of people that I've always find myself gravitating towards.
What about, like, it's kind of the same but different, like Jennifer Lawrence? She, you know, had this huge reputation when she was getting really big, and she got too pissed at all the events, fell up the stairs when she went to collect her award, her nudes got leaked, but she fucking owned it. She owned it, and she was so real.
She's banging, she's funny, she's good at what she does, and she's a real
absolutely. And she's so smart as well. Yeah, like, I love her. So again, someone else that, now I think about it, yeah, you would be a role model to me, not because I think, yes, I should drink too much wine and fall up the stairs, maybe, but the fact that, you know, it's how you carry yourself after, how you deal with the situations, I think says a lot about a person.
And that's resilience, how you can get hit and still keep moving.
Yeah.
Do you ever experience days where there's no motivation, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, frequently.
Right now,
especially in a global pandemic.
Yeah.
How really human. I think people think that fitness influencers have just wake up at 5 a.m. every day and do a 10k run and then go lift some weights and swing themselves around in handstands and come home and eat like chicken and rice and broccoli, because that's, you know, because
everyone has a smoothie bowl, everyone has avocado on toast smashed.
Exactly. But I don't like the term motivation necessarily, because I think it's more about just being disciplined. Like, you're not going to wake up and be motivated. I'm sure you're not going to wake up every Monday and be like, new week, new goals, new Monday, yay, let's go. No, fucking absolutely not. It's pissing me down, it's cold, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm hungover. No. And that's fine. But again, you know, we can turn it into this thing, and it's like, if you haven't woken up on the 1st of September and written a whole new monthly plan, well, so what if this month you want to not have a plan and that's your plan? I think to deal with it, I know that there's a balance between knowing when you need to kind of push through that darker day, if you like, and know that, you know, I'm going to drag myself to the gym because I know I'm going to feel better for it, and I'm not going to get the McDonald's. I am going to have my avocado on toast because I know I'll feel better for it. But like you said, it's all about balance. And, you know, if you've been to the gym 4 times that week and you don't want to go, then go, chill out, stay in bed. It's not gonna, the world will not stop spinning because you didn't rock up at Pure Gym at 6:30 in the morning and get on the stepper. You know what I mean?
Some people think like that.
I just think you've got to learn. Like, I think when you start missing every Tuesday and Wednesday of every week, then you've got to question, okay, why am I not going? Why am I not motivated? Like, if you're not motivated, why are you not motivated? What are you going to do to change that?
Yeah, what would,
because you're not going to reach your goals without being a little bit disciplined and a little bit motivated. So maybe you just need to switch up what you're doing.
I found again, I'm not the fountain of knowledge either. I'm not health, I'm not knowledge. But what someone once said to me was your why. And
yes, I love that.
Getting into that, and it was through work, why do you come to work each day? And it's something called the 5 whys. So why do you come to work each day? Well, earn money. Why do you want to earn money? Oh, I want to live a better life. Why do you want to live a better life? Well, when it comes down to it, you get into 5 real honest whys. I've got a daughter and a missus, and I want to provide for them. And that's why I get out of bed and do extra hours or whatever it is that I might do. The podcast, which takes phenomenal amount of time each week now. But I've started to make a bit of a business out of it. So that's why I put those hours in before and after my actual job, because I want the other things to be able to provide for family. And again, I don't think enough people know their why. Too many people are happy in average relationships and, jobs that they're not happy in, and living or hanging out with mates that they think are their mates, but really they're not fucking friends. They're sappers. They don't bring you forward. They bring you down. Be scared to change the cycle.
Like a lot of people are going, a lot of girls have come across, well, I'm training 7 days a week, I'm doing squats every day, and I'm eating twice a day, and I'm not drinking, and no, just
bet you're fun at parties.
Train better, eat better. You'll be better training 4 times a week and eating better for those 4 days, and then having a life. But people just, again, it's this lack of education, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So
it's a false perception, I think, around what you should be doing versus what you could be doing.
And then we can do a full 360, and they'll be like, well, why are you training 7 days a week? Why do you feel like you need a bigger butt? Oh, because I saw it on Instagram and she had a big butt, and now, well, why? What's wrong with your butt?
Kim Kardashian's got a big butt. Wow.
Yeah, huge. So cool.
Oh, well, I can spend hours to it. I like the philosophy of people and mindsets of people, which is it's partly why I started this, to find out more about people and what makes them tick and what drives them. And
it's funny, I was going to start a podcast in lockdown, but I just wouldn't have a bloody clue where to start. And then I thought, does anyone really want to be subjected to my shrill voice for an hour and a half?
Well, I don't know if anyone likes me, to be honest, pal, but fucking wish they do, eh?
Well, we're still here, aren't we? So.
Well, you're episode 42, mate, so we're getting somewhere.
Exactly. It's 42 more than I've done.
Wow. You'll get there one day if you want to do it. Get on the YouTube thing. That's where the money is.
Yeah, people on YouTube are nasty.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's because there's no passport or address or driver's license attached to these accounts, with no pictures and weird names. So they're not accountable for what they say and do, and they can get away with it. And until that changes, there will always be a lot of trolls and a lot of hate, because people are not happy with themselves and then project that into other people's lives. Very philosophical, that is. A nice little...
Deep. I'm only 1 beer in and we've got that deep.
I know. This is normally like a 3 a.m.
I know.
Over a pizza or whatever, if I'm still awake.
Yeah.
So there we are.
Probably.
Hey, look, I really appreciate that. I enjoyed that. Since I had, we had no direction in the beginning. That was a good little chat.
Oh, I have no direction ever, and I always seem to end up somewhere, so it's fine.
Exactly, I like that. Hey, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh no, look, we'll I'm sure we'll keep in touch and catch up again when you're, I don't know,
when I'm a famous handstander,
Yes. Running your own bikini range for handstandists, if that's the right word.
I mean, that's a USP, isn't it? Let's get that going.
Yeah, the best bikinis for handstands. Hey, look, hated that, mate.
And also, if you buy the bikini, you get a free slice of banana bread.
And a can of Stella.
There we go.
What a G. Hey, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. Also, big thanks to Tiny Rebel. They give us the beers each episode. So big thanks to them, and thanks to everyone else for downloading, subscribing, rating, reviewing. Positive and negative, I'll take it. So really appreciate that. Catch us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Instagram, Twitter, Catflap Chats. And we'll bring you another episode next week. Thank you very much.